Alrighty, so directed evolution is the new term that we're pivoting to. Gain of function, which was already a Orwellian euphemism, is now old hat. It's known by the public to be a bad thing. It sounds very bad and very nasty and is also illegal. So if we call it directed evolution, then everything's fine, according to an alleged Pfizer executive who was exposed by Project Veritas, who I guess picked him up on Tinder. Now, honestly, I think I side with a lot of people at first who saw this and said, oh my gosh, this guy is saying literally everything. He's confirming all of our biases. This is too good to be true. Maybe this guy is a plant. Maybe he's a troll. Some people even said that they thought Pfizer themselves, set Veritas up with this guy. That I think that's ridiculous. I don't think Pfizer would do that. But it did seem. I mean, it seemed so on the nose. But honestly, if we believe that Pfizer and these other companies are doing all these things, and that the people involved are really this callous, I mean, should we really be that skeptical if we find out, if we see something, and if we see a guy on camera, recorded, who seems to, his story seems to check out, he seems to be who Project Veritas says he is, should we really be that surprised that he confirmed what we already thought? Doesn't that just mean that we were right? I mean, yes, you always want to double and triple check before you declare that something's true. If you just saw some random video and someone said, hey, here's a Pfizer executive saying that they're doing gain-of-function research, and, you had no verification, well, then, yeah, you should be a little skeptical. But Project Veritas seems to have done their homework here. And the video has even been banned from YouTube, which, to me, is an indication that it's true. That, typically, I don't think that YouTube has been that concerned about fake news. They tend to be more concerned about keeping the truth out of the hands of ordinary people. Furthermore, the Daily Mail, which is known for publishing a lot of fake news, initially wrote up a summary and breakdown of this video from Project Veritas, and then took it down. They didn't, issue a correction saying, hey, this wasn't true. They didn't, update the story and say, hey, we found out that the Veritas video was fake. No, all the Daily Mail did was just erase the page. It's gone. Memory hold. Furthermore, if this Pfizer guy was fake, and if Project Veritas got rolled and trolled, I would think that all of the mainstream media, especially on Twitter, would be dancing on Project Veritas's grave and saying, oh, James O'Keefe, he's fake news, he's public, he got tricked, he's publishing, fake, fantastical crisis actors. We haven't seen any of that. We haven't seen mainstream media articles saying, oh, Project Veritas lied. We're getting either right-wingers, essentially, dissidents. These are not all right-wingers, just people who are against the Wu flu regime globally. People like that are discussing this, and then everyone else is just ignoring it. So if this is true, the implications seem to be that we have gain-of-function research still ongoing here in the United States. Even though it was banned by the Obama administration, supposedly the research triangle in North Carolina was shut down from doing this, and it had to be outsourced to places like China and Ukraine, to places like the Wuhan Institute of Virology. But based on what was said here in this undercover recording, Pfizer is conducting these experiments in their facilities here. That was the implication that I got. It seemed like this guy was intimately familiar with them because he, an American working in America, was involved with these experiments. And he was using, the typical line that we hear about gain of function. Oh, well, you see, we want to make the virus more deadly so that we can, create the vaccine in anticipation of when it evolves to be more deadly in the wild. Even though that almost never happens because you can't predict in a lab how things are going to evolve in nature. Typically, this gain of function research is used as a cover by various countries as a way of getting around international conventions that prohibit the development of bioweapons. And so in the name of trying to make a vaccine for a fictional virus, these companies, under the direction of their sovereigns, will develop these super viruses and then create a vaccine for them, which nobody will ever need because this virus will never exist in nature. And, the dark side of that is that they say this will never happen, but these viruses that they develop and collect and then store, along with vaccines, could be deployed as bioweapons. And then, the side that is deploying the weapon already has a pre-made vaccine for it so that they can vaccinate their people and unleash it on whoever their enemy is. Now, to be clear, this Pfizer guy did not say anything that about this particular research that they're conducting being related to the Defense Department, although he did liken the relationship between government and the pharma industry to government and the defense industry and the military-industrial complex. He directly compared the two and said, hey, it's the same idea. They function the same. They have the revolving door. You have people from government who come and make tens of millions working for Big Pharma, and then you have the pharma people who go and work in government. Now, leaving the whole weaponization topic out of it, there are two other very bad implications here. The next most sort of heinous implication being that, Pfizer could create these more deadly viruses, or at least just different viruses, create vaccines for these new viruses that don't exist in nature, and then, perhaps by accident, let's say, that would be the official story, these viruses would break out of the lab. You would have a lab leak here in the United States. They wouldn't tell us it was a lab leak, of course. That would be a conspiracy theory. But there would be a lab leak in the United States, and it would infect everyone. But lo and behold, Pfizer would have a vaccine since, they created the virus to begin with so that they could make a vaccine for it ahead of time in case it, ever actually affected the population, even though the mathematical odds that it would evolve in nature the exact same way that they evolved it in the lab is, astronomically small. But nonetheless, hey, we're in that situation, and here's the vaccine, and Pfizer makes lots of money. And then the third sort of least heinous thing is an actual genuine accidental lab leak, not a wink, wink, nudge, nudge lab leak. One where it did just accidentally get out. Someone didn't wash their hands or something like that. They touched a doorknob on the outside world, and it started to infect people. But there is no, out of all this research, there is no sort of good scenario. There's just varying degrees of bad. The best case scenario, as far as this research is concerned, is that nothing happens. That would be the best thing that you could hope for. Now, I'm hoping that this gets trumpeted a bit more. I'm hoping that maybe Tucker Carlson will leak this on his show. He is he is the biggest voice of dissent here in the United States. And so I hope that he pushes it hard. Other than that, there's, with the level of suppression of this going on everywhere, thankfully, other than Twitter. Twitter, I should point out, this is where this video, the Project Veritas, which I will link, actually I probably can't link to because I'm on YouTube. YouTube might flag me for linking to it. They have a tendency to do that with things they don't like, like gun tubers. They can't link to anything, any products that they're handling in their videos at all, because guns are bad. So I think you should just probably go to Project Veritas's website. I think it's just projectveritas.com, or go to their Twitter page, click on the media tab, you'll find this video. They're pushing it everywhere. It's got like 14 million views last I checked, and that's a good thing. Although Twitter's a very small platform, but at least right now on Twitter with Musk, I should thank Musk, this has not been suppressed. Project Veritas was banned on Twitter before Musk took over. He restored their account and James O'Keefe's account. YouTube, from last I saw, YouTube is suppressing this video. They don't want it. It is not. You're not supposed to be showing it. I think that the video was taken down. Facebook, I'm sure, is doing the same. Facebook is one of the worst. Instagram, owned by Facebook, of course. So Twitter and Tucker, Musk and Carlson, those are the only vectors really for this story, other than people like you and me talking about it with our friends. And this should be the biggest story in the country. It's not, but we I think maybe after this, this is always cringy when people say, call your congressman. But this is the kind of thing, hey, it might be worth calling your congressman over. Not that your congressman is ever going to do anything. You can't say that. But just to prod them a little bit and to give them the impression, hey, people are seeing this. And, it's going to be difficult for us, perhaps, to cover up for our good buddies at Pfizer. Calling your congressman is a way of heckling them, as far as I'm concerned. It's not a way of actually trying to influence them, or at least not in a positive sense. It's not like you're going to call up your congressman and you're going to persuade him. No. But what you're going to do is you could say, you could make him feel some heat. That is, if enough people do it. So anyway, with that said, I will see you folks back here tomorrow.